Welcome to our first webinar on modular email design. This will be part 1 of 3, but before I get too carried away, let's start with intros. I am the account sales manager here at Dyspatch, and I'll be your moderator for today.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Veronica, and I'm Director of Product at Dyspatch. I'm the user, I'm the customer through and through. It's why I joined Dyspatch about a year ago. Before this, I was Director of Product at SoundCloud, and I have previous experience in product in consumer products ranging from online dating to wearables. And when I heard about Dyspatch, I totally wish I'd had it in my previous roles. So joining the team has been a really great opportunity. I love that we can address the challenges of how do you build a roadmap that drives revenue while still being able to focus on emails and have a really big impact that way. So I'm looking forward to chatting with you today.
And the last part, I'm Aileen. I'm part of our customer support team. I'm a bit of a jack of all trades when it comes to development, and I've been helping our users build emails for a while now. I'll be answering any questions you have live during the webinar, so drop me a message in the chat or in the Q&A, and I'll give you an answer.
Great. So what we have for you today is a question and answer style overview of what modular design is, how it can help you and what you can do next, all the while highlighting our product Dyspatch and how we've thought about modular design to advance your technique and solve some of the major pain points in the field. So don't forget, again, we have live chat through, drop your questions there, and we'll have a chain running throughout the next half hour. So let's get to it. Vero, let's start at the beginning. What is modular email design?
All right, so modular email design is dividing your email into independent parts that we call modules that can be easily recombined and create entirely new emails without having to start from scratch. So in short, you're creating a template visually based on how it will look rather than on its code. And creating a visual template isn't just for non-coders too. We've had feedback from customers who know HTML but want to move faster. So rather than having to write HTML all the time, they can use the visual editor, which was where modular email design happens.
Okay, so why did we at Dyspatch dip our foot into the pool? Why is it important for companies in the world to use?
Yeah, basically it's empowering high performance email production without having to write code to do anything. So we're a team of email experts. We have 6 years of experience with helping SMBs at Send With Us build an email strategy. This showed us that we could do with more than what Send With Us could as an email or a code reliant tool. Dyspatch opens up the email builder audience to non-coders. The visual editor, which is only in Dyspatch, uses drag and drop to achieve more innovative email techniques without having to code.
Right. So let's face it, email production in 2019 is still harder and more fragmented than it needs to be. Typically, it's really code reliant. Sounds like Dyspatch really thought about that. And since we are experts in the industry, what have we done?
So our mission really was always to empower teams to work in a common email production platform. And the reason we built Dyspatch is to provide important advantages to a team's existing process, which is often convoluted, error-prone, and it's pretty slows time to market, really.
Right. So in all my time working, what I've noticed and what I've heard time and time again as to what's important for teams is that we need to evolve. Teams that have emails need them to be guaranteed mobile responsive. We need them to be always on brand. And also we need to be able to leverage interactive and data-driven emails, right? So, but typically, unfortunately, the system is pigeonholed and where production is bottlenecked. What has Dyspatch done? How have we thought about this problem?
That's true. We thought of this, and here's how we alleviated some of that pain in Dyspatch. So the first is that we ensured seamless collaboration with commenting on templates and review and approval workflows all happening in one common platform in Dyspatch. And we had integrations in mind from the beginning, and we'll talk about this a little bit later in the webinar, but basically you don't have to compromise. You can publish to multiple ESPs without having to, with a really simple integration. And one more thing is that you can experiment with cutting edge email techniques in Dyspatch that your competitors probably aren't leveraging yet. So if you want to add a product carousel to a promotional email or include a video to really pique your customers' interest, you can do this in Dyspatch without having to write code.
Which sounds exciting because it's a good combination of what we know modular design to be, but also bringing more innovation and updates to how it's typically applied. So given that we are now combining coding and non-coding personnel, how does this help teams work together better and faster?
All right, I really love this slide because I think it showcases how modular email design can really be. Like, modular is in the name for a reason. So take a look how some of these modules have been reused for completely different use cases without compromising on, for example, branding. So the first example is you've got a common header here. The design team, your branding team have all approved this header, and you can reuse it in every single one of these templates, completely different use cases, really simply. And the second is flexibility. As you can see here, we have blocks that just basically have copy in them, or images, it's the same thing. The marketing team can reuse these and swap out the images or copy in about 2 seconds to fit the use case of the email, whether it's an event email or a new product launch promotion. And you're just still using the same common set of blocks for a completely different email to be spun up.
This is great, because I can't tell you how many times I've sat meetings about strategy that have been bogged down by the inability to hurt a stakeholder, for the main decision maker to be called away at the last minute, let alone just real world issues of workload disbursement to get things done. It's extremely frustrating for organizations to be unable to be flexible and address these issues as they come up. What have we done about this?
Listen, Evelyn, it's such a good point. I think a lot of our listeners actually really empathize with this. They've lived this. I know I have. For example, situations where the trade-off is build a new feature that might bring in $3 million this quarter, or really have an impact on your bottom line, or slot in developer time to make changes to transactional emails like reset password emails. Even established companies where I've worked, like SoundCloud, have stakeholders in completely different countries, which makes anything to do with approvals really complicated. And at the expense of feature work, you have to do email work sometimes for legal compliance reasons. So here's what we do at Dyspatch. At Dyspatch, we use Dyspatch for our marketing emails, for our transactional emails. After the first few modules were coded by our team, we can reuse them for so many use cases without having to use code. I can go in there as a non-technical product person and make changes. Design can have a look there. The social team can look. And because Dyspatch is outside the critical path, there's no errors that go into production ever. Once the right team has finalized approvals, whether that's product or engineering or legal, basically we're connected to our ESPs. Everything gets published in real time. And we do the same thing as everybody else. We track open rates, click-through rates in Pardot, and all that is happening automatically in the background. So basically we can have a new template up in 10 minutes without having to write any code and starting from scratch. You're just reusing the same blocks for different use cases every time.
Automagically, that's a good technical term to use. But so it seems to be a little revolutionary on how we're applying modular design in Dyspatch's application, because what I've always known is email creation is always code heavy. It really taxes your engine dev teams. It seems like your personnel are either stuck between two ideas of thought, right? Having to code these templates feels like a waste of time and is frustrating, or you just legitimately don't know how to do it, and it's a little daunting for the non-technical teams, right?
Right. So instead of coding your templates, I think we can go into a little bit more about why a platform like Dyspatch using modular email design can get your templates to high performance levels, even if you don't know how to write code.
Okay.
So the first step is the most important. Here's some modules in action in the visual editor. You can see a brand new email template coming together with those reusable modules.
And these can be done without coding knowledge or taxing resources from my dev team.
Exactly. So you can change the copy, you can change the images, you can change the links, you can change the formatting, and you can use that same module for dozens of use cases. This is ideal for marketers who aren't able to get regular support from developers or who aren't experienced coders themselves. And it makes it approachable for all kinds of different roles within your company, whether they're stakeholders who are designers, or, as I say, on the legal team, or really just engineers who want to move faster. The best thing too is that all the workflow happens in this one place. Everything's tracked with a template.
Okay, so we get the idea of how this modular design works. These modules or blocks can be really powerful, but where do they come from, and how do I get the right blocks into my emails?
This is actually way more straightforward than you might think. So you start with a set of modules that can be made by our team at Dyspatch for you when you get up and running on a platform, or by somebody at your company that does have coding knowledge. But then they can be easily reused and modified to suit a variety of use cases, from a new product launch to a receipt for an online purchase or a password reset email. Let's face it, every email needs a legal footer, it needs to include images and links, and the fact that you can use new techniques like video is just a bonus to that.
Sounds pretty great, but in reality, letting another department touch something I own is a little scary, and I'm not typically too happy about the risk that incurs for errors. How has Dyspatch addressed this issue?
Yeah, I know that can be a real problem. You don't want any errors happening anywhere. Keep in mind that you can set what's editable or not in every block at every step of the way with a really granular permission level. So you as the admin can make sure that nobody in the block, or nobody can edit the, for example, New York addresses inclusion in a legal footer, but anything that you want to be editable, like a call to action button so that your marketing team can experiment, all that you can set to editable. It's really easy to make sure that some content is locked and other content is editable.
Right. So you're alluding to compliance, and compliance is key. How does modular design maintain compliance? And more specifically, how does Dyspatch do that while still allowing people to update modules and spin up new email templates rather quickly?
So Dyspatch just has template themes. Your custom theme in your organization ensures that all the templates will also always follow the right guidelines for background color and for fonts, and that the modules displayed in the editor will always work together. They're designed to go together. In Dyspatch, you can build your own theme, or you can use a default theme that's provided by us. It does set us apart from our competitors who require you to rely on some of their pre-baked themes that can't really be modified much to fit your brand. In Dyspatch, we didn't want you to have to compromise on this, and we wanted to really see your vision come to life from a branding and design perspective, so you can build a completely custom theme or use one of ours.
Okay, so I can see how those points ease the pain of email creation. But what about the chatter, right? Because there's one thing to create it, the other thing is to follow it. I typically have had to manage 3 different platforms, follow one conversation. Again, has Dyspatch addressed this at all?
This is such a great example of how much I would have benefited from having Dyspatch in my past roles and with my past teams. Here's scenarios I'm sure most of our listeners have actually lived through. I know you have. You have a scattering of Google Docs, tabs, spreadsheets, Post-it notes, endless meetings about emails just to get the email drafted up, the first version. Then you have a never-ending email thread where you're chasing stakeholders like VPs to approve the content before it goes live. With Dyspatch instead, we just track the entire templates workflow in one place with the template. And if you want, we can send you emails letting you know as the template changes from status, for example, from draft to approved to published, but that's really up to you, and everything's tracked there, so you can go check up on it without having to chase different stakeholders who are sometimes in different time zones and countries.
Yeah, it's the kind of benefits of working globally, right?
Yeah.
So it seems to be that Dyspatch, we've created a turnkey solution to really utilize modular design and take it to the next level. But typically when this happens, there are compromises, right? I immediately think about, what does integration look like? It's challenging to get buy-in for additional tools and organizations. Let's face it, people don't want to learn new processes. And what has Dyspatch done about that?
Yeah, we've thought about this from day one because we know it could be onerous. With Dyspatch, you don't compromise on your integrations with modular email design because Dyspatch actually sits right on top of your current workflow. So you get seamless integrations with your ESP or your ESPs, whatever the case may be. You can use our powerful API, and getting set up with Dyspatch, the initial setup can actually happen same day. So once the template is approved and is ready to send, that just happens in the background. You don't have to think about it. And from the day that you use Dyspatch, you can have all that done day one.
Day one, huh? All right, so we've talked a little bit about modular design. We've really highlighted how Dyspatch kind of has leveled up modular design. Typically in webinars, especially sponsored ones, we have humble brags. So Vera, why don't you give us one for Dyspatch? What's our humble brag?
Okay, I wanted to give you something that was going to be really memorable. Urbandor is a property rental company. They're owned by Airbnb, and they've been a customer of ours for years. And here's how much faster they were able to get their emails to customers using Dyspatch as compared to their workflow before. So the findings, as you can see here, is before they had comments, email notifications, and the workflow in Dyspatch, it took 6.85 operational hours per draft. And after using Dyspatch, that number went down to just about 70 minutes per draft. And that's a decrease of 83.36% in time to review and approval. And while results may vary, I think it's safe to say that this kind of improvement is a huge win for any team.
Typically. And I think we need to give a little shout out to somebody, right?
Oh yeah, I was going to say hi, David, or great customer of ours.
Yeah. So we're coming up on time. We promised to keep it short. Beryl, what would you say were the 3 key takeaways that we want people to remember about Dyspatch's modular design platform?
All right, so the 3 takeaways are: modular email design is ideal for cross-functional teams working together on content and communication, because every step of the workflow can happen in one place. The second is that emails are crucial to your bottom line as a business, and modular email design makes them easier. Ensuring approved content every step of the way, ensuring seller design, all of that sets you apart from your competitors. And it also gets you to market faster, it gets your customers your emails faster. That drives user engagement. With modular email design, you don't have to compromise on any of these things. And then the third is easy integration, send your emails as you do today. Integrating with Dyspatch is a breeze, and it fits into your existing systems like your ESP. So you can be up and running same day.
Okay, well, so it seems like our chat has been really quiet this morning, but we haven't had Aileen there. So Aileen, is there anything you want to add? You're our support team. You're the one that interfaces a lot with our clients and trialists and prospects and everybody. So what do you have to add for us this morning?
I just wanted to add that I'm really excited to talk with anyone that wants to join Dyspatch. Our support team is always here to help, and we've been building emails in Dyspatch for a while now. It's a lot of fun, and I really recommend anyone give it a shot. And if you have any trouble, then please reach out to us. We're really happy to help.
Right, which is true. Typically, as the managing or head of sales, I have to wrangle my CS team. They're extremely helpful, which is not always a bad thing. But so moving on, this, as I mentioned before, is the first of 3 webinars that we're starting. We're going to see, I see many of you will probably get this as a recording and watch on your own time. I understand our days are extremely busy, but please stay tuned. Our next webinar will be how to build a better modular email pipeline. If you have any questions about what we covered today, please write in. I'll be paying attention. And if you have any suggestions for a webinar topic that you'd like, please also submit that. And we can focus from there. I'm getting one message here. How can you, oh, I have a question. Can you touch on how to include video when the video element is pretty awful in support across email clients?
Yeah, I can jump in and just answer that live. The video client you're absolutely right. It's terrible support. What we have is a really nice preview. So what it does is it's like a GIF that runs, and it looks like a video. It's got the play button, it's got everything. It's really easy to set up. And then when you send the email, when someone clicks play, it opens up and plays a video on YouTube or whatever that you like. So it's kind of one of those things where it looks a lot like what it is, and we've got a lot better support for the GIFs than for the videos themselves. But what we'd really love to do is have fallbacks. So for the clients that do support video, have them have video, and then for the ones that don't, have the preview. So that's something we would really like to do, and that we're looking to do in the future.
Great, thank you, Bri. I think we've chatted before. Are there any other questions out there? Wait a couple seconds. Okay, so thank you again for joining this morning. I understand we've kind of glossed over some things, thrown a lot of information out, but what's the best next step is to try us out. And how do we do that, Vero?
All right, super easy. Just go to dispatch.io and start a 2-week free trial. I'm really confident that if you try it, you'll see how much you can help your team level up on email production. And I'd really love for you all to tell us what you think. We'd love to hear from you, so you can reach out to Aileen or somebody on our team as well, on the product team. Just try it. It's a 2-week free trial.
Great. Thank you, and stay tuned for our next webinars. Please reach out should you have any questions. Ciao.